Hey everybody, it's Everett with Ohio for Freedom. I would ask you if you can hear to type in, just because I always ask if you to type in. Also, can we just keep it between us tonight? I got kind of a waiver to wear this hat. This is my favorite hat. It's old, it's beat up, but I like it. And you can pray for us, y'all. My wife actually wants me. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. She actually wants me to buy a new hat, like a brand new one. Like, why would you ever do that? But anyway, I see we got RNS from Western Tennessee with the official weekend here. Folks, I'm going to be on here attempting to be just kind of brief. I want to say at the outset that I have a correction to make. Not so much a retraction as a correction. So let's just get that out of the way. On the Holy Land Grabs episode, which was, I believe, the last live that we did, I misstated a fact. Yes, I did, and I want to correct it. I'm always happy to correct something if it isn't right. And so let's get that out of the way. I referenced a $50,000 land transaction in 1998, a direct sale from Solid Rock Church Ministries directly to Lawrence Bishop Jr., and I said that it was 26 acres. That, my friends, was incorrect. It was 5 acres. So that retraction has been made. Unfortunately, the information that led us to get to that fact, it makes the situation even worse. I'm going to show you that. But that is the retraction. That is the correction. And yes, it makes the situation even worse. And then we'll show you evidence of that. Also, I seem to have made a mistake. It's not like me to mispronounce something. I might be kind of hillbilly redneck, but I usually get things right when it comes just to basic speech. I mispronounced a name. So Lawrence Jr., we'll put it this way. Darlene has like 5 children. Is that right? Wait, she has Lawrence Jr., and she has Renee. She has Julie. Um, but she has a daughter, so maybe it's 4. My head is just spinning. Her daughter's name is not Jonah. Her daughter's name is Jana, Jana. Beautiful name. I hadn't seen that spelling before, kind of threw me off. And I also mispronounced the last name. The last name is not Mutton, it is Mitten. So it's Jana Mitten. And Jana, I am so sorry for mispronouncing your name. And henceforth, Jana, I will do my best. In fact, I will probably just say the name Jana Mitten several times in this program just to help me nail it down and get the pronunciation right. So I wanted to get those couple of corrections out of the way. Always happy to correct something if I made a mistake. Doesn't bother me a bit. Glad to do it. And so that is done. Also, just off the top of my head, it just occurs to me that just before we came on here this evening, I received word that Lawrence Bishop Jr. was in a meeting today, and I guess my name came up. Gosh, I feel kind of honored, but I'll try not to let it go to my head. Also, I believe that Pastor Ray Curry's name came up. And then it also looks like I have to see this for myself. So this may or may not be exactly accurate. Like somebody is hoping that we don't go to hell. Well, I'm not going to hell. Pastor Ray's not going to hell. So y'all can just lay that one to rest. That's all good. But speaking of Pastor Ray Curry, I'm really happy to announce that Pastor Ray Curry will be on the program with me Tuesday of this week. I believe that would be the 26th. Now, it will be about 8 o'clock because I won't start until Robin Torgrimson of Mega Maniacs has concluded, and she can get kind of long-winded. I wonder where she got that. But her, myself, Laura Lynn, we tend to do longer programs. But at the conclusion of Mega Maniacs, as is scheduled, Pastor Ray Curry will be joining me. I love Pastor Ray. Just become such a good friend. I admire him so much, and he gives me hope for the future. And so please be looking for that. Actually, there's a very, very exciting lineup this week. And we'll just kind of announce like the night before. But before I'm done with announcements, tomorrow evening, because we're kind of going micro niche here, we're kind of really focusing on the Solid Rock story because it's far from over, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, it's far from over. But anyway, I'll get Pastor Ray off the screen for just a moment. But look for him on Tuesday evening. He is so powerful, and I'm really looking forward to it. People have asked me, Everett, when you going to show the letter? And for those of you that are maybe tuning in for the first time, you're not familiar with the story, about this time last year, maybe a week, maybe like first week of September, there was this really curious letter that was sent out to, it appears to be mostly high-level donors at Solid Rock, alleging certain things where Darlene Bishop is concerned. And I actually received an email from a dear sister that said, can you please show that letter? We were attending at the time and had been attending, but we must not have been high level enough to get the letter. That's just try to wrap your head around that. you didn't get the letter that calls all that. So tomorrow night, we will be going over that letter. I'll put it in full context on the screen. I'll put it in such a way that if you wanted to screenshot it, you can get your own copy of it. But there's another letter that we're going to look at also, and it is the letter that is from, it's in the file over there. I can't remember the attorney firm's name off the top of my head. It's not David Middlebrook, I know that. But it is the letter that was issued about a potential violation of the non-disclosure agreement that Lawrence Jr. signed. And we'll probably talk about that, maybe mention it a little bit as we go through here tonight. But so we'll put it so you can get a screenshot of that as well. I mean, we'll get it out there. You can look at it. And oh, one thing else about that first letter. Yes, I do drink coffee quite strong at this hour. There's never a bad time to drink coffee. I don't know if you know that, but the one curious thing that you'll see tomorrow with that first letter is the curious way that it was sent out and the hand addressing. And you just look at the handwriting and you go, that's interesting. That's interesting. So anyway, there we are. I'm 7 minutes in. I'm going to keep rolling here. So tomorrow night, the letter, Tuesday night, Pastor Ray, and it's a very exciting week coming up here. Also, speaking of Jana Mitten, somebody sent me this screenshot from Facebook. And there was a dear young lady, Marla Ann, typing in, it's crazy how people are quick to believe all these lies without fact-checking anything. Nuts. Love you, #family. And then Jana Mitten responds, no fact-checking, just rumor-mongering and fact-twisting. In fact, I'm going to blow that up a little bigger so you can see it better. Let's just reread the whole thing, shall we? It's crazy how people, this is Marla Ann, it's crazy how people are quick to believe all these lies without fact-checking anything. Nuts. Love you. And Jana responds, no fact-checking, just rumor-mongering and fact-twisting. Now, this leads me to one other thing I failed to mention at the beginning. Someone told me that occasionally I will use the term sweet cheeks. Now, when I say sweet cheeks, I'm talking about cheeks. But I guess in the minds of some, it makes them think of a woman's rear end. Please don't make me spend any more time on that. A woman's rear end, derriere, okay, whatever. I want to assure you, I ain't talking about no woman's derriere, but I will endeavor in the future to try to avoid the term sweet cheeks for those that have a weaker conscience. I don't want to cause somebody to stumble, but should I forget in the future, it's the 24th of August at 7:41 p.m. Eastern. If I ever would say sweet cheeks, I'm talking about these. Maybe I'll learn to say sweet face cheeks. But let's get back to this Facebook thing here. No fact checking. Well, that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight, Jana. No fact checking. because I find it curious that Marla says it's crazy how people are quick to believe all these lies. Well, Marla Ann, we haven't met, but honey, what lies you talking about? What lies are you talking about? What lies are you talking about? I asked it 3 times because I'd like to know what lies you're talking about. You don't even mention anything that you've stated. So it's like, it's all lies. It's all, well, what is it? So we're going to do just a little bit of joint fact checking together. And I want to say, I've already shown you, if I get something wrong, I'll correct it. We're going to come back to that correction in just a minute. Oh, and I want to get this out of the way. So, and somebody else sent me this screenshot. Mary Barrett Bagel. I like to know, how are you people insane? I mean, truly, are you insane to come against a woman of God? I mean, who is backing you people? What is her name? Oh, yes. And then a couple of spaces and 2 exclamation points. You know, it's interesting. It's funny when you read comments that are like angry. And I guess if you're angry in a comment, if you use a lot of exclamation points, I guess it makes it more exclamatorism-ish or something like that. But the one that is really interesting is when they use all capital letters. Capital letters. Yeah, I learned that in 5th grade. Anyway, let's keep going. There was a lady there, SRC, at the church that wanted to take control. She was in some form of government position. I don't know what she's talking about. She used to go to Solid Rock Church. You don't even capitalize Solid Rock Church? Okay. And because she couldn't gain control through deceiving Lawrence Bishop Jr. That's not even a sentence, Mary Barrett Bagel. It looks like this is her signature. We see who backing you people. Okay, wait. We see who backing you people. Yeah, remedial English is, yeah, that probably need that in the public schools. I would not want to be in the shoes of people that has lied on a woman of God. Now, this last one just gets me. No one in the right mind would touch God's anointed. Well, Mary Barrett Bagel, I'm going to make you a promise, and I'm sincere. If you email me at ohioforfreedom@gmail.com, provide me with a mailing address or a post office box, I will send you a Bible, a large print Bible, and I will paperclip Psalm 105, and I will paperclip 1 Samuel 20. All you'll have to do is open up and go to the paperclip. It might be one of those regular Staples type paperclips. Those rubber ones, like, they're more expensive. That I don't want to overpromise there, but I'll paperclip Psalm 105. I'll paperclip 1 Samuel 24. I'll paperclip 1 Samuel 26. And if you just read that, your fear of this false doctrine, touch not my anointed thing, it'll go away, because you'll find out, oh my gosh, I believed a lie all this time. You'll be set free. So that's just a promise that I want to make to Mary Barrett Bagel. Oh, and some people have figured out, yep, he was telling the truth. He said he got delivered out of alcohol. I told you it caused a lot of trouble. And, you know, it's interesting. There's people that 3 months ago, I said, this is what's going to happen. And so y'all, yeah, you're kind of late to the party, but it's okay. Let's just keep going here. So, oh, there's beautiful. There's Mary. And yeah, okay. So that's Mary. She's the one that I'm trying to send the Bible to. Okay. So let's do a little bit of fact checking, shall we? Okay. Now, Jana, I don't know if you'll be watching this, but you're going to have somebody that'll, like, at least report it back to you. Certainly. I mean, certainly you do that. So let's do fact check number 1. Here is just a screenshot from the original Articles of Incorporation of Middletown Evangelistic Center Church. Okay, Jana, is this factual? Does this survive fact check? Yeah, it does. I mean, are you really going to say that the Ohio Secretary of State website is a lie? They're lying. The Secretary of State website is go cast the demon. I don't think so. So this survives fact check. This 990 for Darlene Bishop Ministries in 2004, where she made $340,000. And where your siblings, I don't see you on there, but where Lawrence was paid $75,000 and Julie was paid $76,809 and Renee was paid $74,000. Does that, Jana, survive fact check? Does it? I mean, it's the IRS. It's what they filed. Did your mom have somebody file a fake 990? So I'm going to say that pretty much survives fact check. This one from 2007 that shows your brother making 75 grand for 30 hours worth of work. Good for him. Not bad work if you can get it. Looks like Julie got a raise. She's working more hours, but 80 grand, that was a lot of money back then. A lot of money now, actually. And Renee made 84. Why did Renee make 84 grand for 40 hours a week, but Julie made only 80 for an extra 50 hours or 10 hours? You know, but nobody, I'm sure nobody was fudging. But I'm going to say, Jana, does that survive fact check? Can you provide information that that's a fake 990? Because if you can't, it survives fact check. I'm being so nice tonight. I'm being very nice tonight. Now, getting back to these founding documents, this first one there, and I've got all this stuff. I've got all this stuff, but I wanted to just keep it simple. This is from the very first founding document, the part at the top. No part of net earnings of the corporation shall inure to the benefit of or be distributable to its trustees, officers, or other private persons, except the corporation shall be authorized and empowered to pay a reasonable compensation for services rendered. So, Jana Mitten, does that survive fact check? Does it survive fact check? We already dealt with that because we talked about the Ohio Secretary of State. And then there was, and just for time's sake, folks, there was a name change that was filed, I think, in the mid-90s, early 90s. But this one that you're looking at here is from sort of an update of articles and bylaws from 2013. And so, Jana, what we're trying to do is fact check something here. Or wait, who else? Wait a minute. I'm going to back up. Marla, 513-620-5754. I'm really counting on you, Marla. If you're talking about all these lies. Well, so far we've gone through some stuff and there hadn't been no lies. But now, if you have evidence to the contrary, Marla Ann, please call me up, 513-620-5754. And please demonstrate, because I love to do retractions. I began the program tonight with a retraction and a correction. But there's more to that story. We haven't got there yet. So let's keep going. Okay, so no part of net earnings shall inure to the benefit of. We went over that. And then also from the 2013 filing, it says that under the federal code, so see, this is keeping through because it's this is paperwork that has to be square at the IRS. It's repeated in the 2013 filing under the Federal Code of the Internal Revenue Service. No part of its net earnings will inure to the benefit of private shareholders or individuals. And then on a previous episode, pardon me, I mentioned that it does say in Article 1, the pastor will be given regular and adequate financial support. The amount and manner will be determined in an agreement between the pastor and the elders. That's kind of important because in another section of that same filing, it tells you that the pastor does all the appointing of the elders. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty foolproof accountability system there. Does that, Jana, darling, does that pass fact check? Marla Ann, does that pass fact check? Because unless you got something coming in out of a comment somewhere or dropping, I mean, that's fact check. That's fact right there. Okay. Now, I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. And I'm just going to go through these slides. So this is a screenshot of a text message. And we'll probably revisit this tomorrow when we go through the letter. Some people done sent me a letter. Boom, 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 dun, dun, dun. Okay, anyway. This is Lawrence Jr. And I do have an affidavit to back this up. The story is really deep, but people were writing letters anonymously to the church. We'll deal with that tomorrow, demanding that my mom stepped down. It's, people make mistakes when they're texting because she covered up my dad's adult affairs and sex scandals. So this would be Lawrence Jr. talking about Lawrence Sr. Now, this piece right here, I think it really bears a lot of real scrutiny. So I'm going to back up and then keep reading. Demanding my mom step down because she covered up my dad's adult affairs and sex scandals. I didn't know the extent of it until a year ago. He was pure evil, a predator, and rapist. See, a key phrase is that I didn't know the extent of it until a year ago. Well, the credible allegations are that the sheer number of victims for Lawrence Bishop Sr., whose name adorns the amphitheater to this day at this very moment on Solid Rock Church, the multiple allegations are that the sheer number of victims is like way high, perhaps approaching or surpassing triple digits. So of course you wouldn't know the extent. You weren't there every time he was whatever was happening. I mean, that just seems kind of obvious. But now, Jana, if you can fact check this and prove that this text is like, maybe it's AI generated, but it's not. But see, there's kind of a parsing of words. I didn't know the extent of it. But see, even in doing that, can I just point out, if you're saying I didn't know the extent of it, you're saying that you knew about it. You knew about it. Isn't that what it's saying? You knew about it. You just didn't know everything. You knew about it. You didn't know everything. I guess we'll get here now. Here's one of the big issues. Well, he's dead. Yeah, he is. That was a long time ago. Not that long ago. Not if you're one of his victims, it wasn't. It wasn't that long ago. But he said, well, that's over and that's done with. Well, no, not if you're a victim in carrying the scars. It's not. But here is a real big issue. Everybody that knew, even though they didn't know the extent of it, and you watched Lawrence Bishop Sr. get behind the pulpit, preach, and present himself as a minister, as a pastor, and somehow that's okay with some people. It's okay that this was happening on Saturday night and Sunday morning. Yeah, but that really? The platforming? Wait, well, let's go back here. Maybe you didn't know the extent of it. Well, he was pure evil and a predator and rapist. Well, see, maybe you didn't know the extent of it, but see, I've got an affidavit. And so, and the way that information came through the affidavit, it wasn't saying, holy smokes, I just found out something about my dad. That's not the way the conversation went, according to the affidavit. It was talking about something that the family was used to dealing with. So this wasn't brand new news. But I want to just read this. That's why I went on sabbatical for 3 months. So I was telling my mom that she should show some accountability and at least apologize to the victims because she enabled him. Then Phil spoke up. I told him to shut his mouth. He was nothing but that lives off of women's money, etc. Stuff I have told him many times before. He knows I know what he is. So it doesn't look like Lawrence and Phil get along that good. Before he knows what I know what he is, so she asked me to step down, which was actually a relief because I've been thinking of resigning for a while. Anyway, because there's too many things in leadership that I disagree with. But why did you sign an NDA, Lawrence? And why did you take money when you signed the NDA? If you're doing this thing out of conscience, why did you sign the NDA? We'll deal with that tomorrow. I'm going to keep going. This is Lawrence Bishop. Maybe this is all fake. Maybe this is all AI generated. Maybe this is like, it's the Russians. That's what it is. I will definitely have a board that keeps an eye on the bank accounts and everything accounted for. I have never known anything about the finances at Solid Rock. They have always kept it secret from me. They were doing the right thing. Again, I'm not going to hold anybody to that. I'm going to insert for you, Lawrence, or thought. I just thought they were doing the right thing with the money, but I was wrong. But can I ask a question? Was Lawrence Bishop Jr. ever like an elder, like considered an elder at the church? I don't have time to get into that. And we've got supportive material, but it sure looks like he was. And it sure looks like, when they outed him, they had to get somebody in there to kind of like what they did at Daystar. What was they brought in that Arnold Torres, because he was a guaranteed yes vote. And there sure seems to be like the same. But Jana, fact check me. Fact check me. Fact. Was your brother an elder? Jana, 513-620-5754. Please let me know. But all indications are he was. Well, then, now this is a premise, Lawrence, because you never watch social media, so you'll have to rely on people that are reporting this back to you. So whoever is reporting this back to Lawrence, just please include this so that it's clear. This is a premise. So on the premise that we certainly believe you were an elder, then why you never knew anything about the finances at Solid Rock? If you were an elder, why didn't you know anything? Maybe it's because elders at Solid Rock don't know nothing. They're kept in the dark. That could be real. But then if that would be real, then another question that one would ask is, why would anybody be a part of that? Why would anybody become an elder and then you find that you're kept in the dark and you say, oh, okay, I'm an elder in name only. Oh, cool. I like being an elder. Makes my job easier. Why would you be part of that? Why would you be, dark roast, folks? I love the dark roast. And there's a lot of different dark roasts out there. So, okay, let's just move on to this one. Now, let me keep on going there. Oh, I'm not worried about anything coming back on me because I have always stood for what was right, stood for the truth. I stood toe with Mom and Daryl in a staff meeting and told them we were stopping the missionary offerings because it all goes in Cell Rock's bank account, and that was dishonest. Now, wait a second. We're going to finish this text, y'all. Now, y'all can speculate who Cell Rocks is, but I got to ask a question because Lawrence, please understand. And no, I don't think we're ever going to go bowling together, and I don't think you're ever going. And let me just say this: I'm kind of digressing. It was reported that Lawrence said, if Ray Curry went bowling with me, he'd like me. Lawrence, can I make it a lot simpler than going bowling? If it's a concern of yours whether Ray Curry likes you or not, there's a real easy way to settle that. Apologize face to face with Donnie Spence and Candy Spence. Apologize for lying about them. Apologize for screaming at Candy. Apologize for removing her from the choir. And brother, apologize for calling the police to have her removed from the church when she was singing with the choir and threatening her with arrest. It's a whole lot easier than us flying Pastor Ray out here and going to some bowling alley. Really, the only difference is it takes courage. Do you have it? It takes manhood. Do you have it? Do you have the guts to look somebody in the eye and talk to them face? I'm being so calm tonight. So calm tonight. That's the easy way to get around that. But let me get back to here, because this is confusing to me. I stood toe to toe with Mom and Daryl in a staff meeting and told them we were stopping the missionary offerings because it all goes in Cell Rock's bank account, and that was dishonest. Mom said, yeah, but we still give to missions. I said, but if all of that doesn't go to missions, that's lying and stealing, and there probably wasn't 5% of that money went into missions, actually. Now, assuming that this is not an AI-generated text message or Facebook, whatever, no text, whatever. Assuming the accuracy of this, it seems noble that, I didn't like that, and I told them I didn't like that, and they better stop that. Okay, kudos, great, wonderful. But did anything change is one thing. But the main thing that I just want to kind of look at here, I stood toe to toe with Mom and Daryl in a staff meeting, told them we were stopping missionary offerings because it all goes in Cell Rock's bank account, and that was dishonest. Mom said, yeah, but wait a second, Lawrence. Kind of contradicts this other message. I've never known anything about the finances at Solid Rock. They always kept it secret from me. Well, which is it, my friend? If they always kept it secret from you, how is it that you knew anything about the missionary offerings and where it did go and didn't go at all? Now, this I really can't fact check. I got to like put it out there and ask a question. So unfortunately, you're going to have to call me and give me the facts on that one there, pal, but you haven't returned my call. But does anybody else see a problem with that? It's like, wait, I don't know anything about this, but I'll tell you what I do know. And it ain't good, but I don't know anything, but it ain't good. I don't know anything. It ain't good, but I did the right. Okay. All right, fine. Now, I want to get to the retraction that I did because I made a mistake. It was 5 acres. So the less than $2,000 sale price, I was severely wrong about that. Now, let's deal with this kind of head on here. In the process of having our crack team, make sure that we had all of our I's dotted and T's crossed. This was what was curious. In 2007, and I took a screenshot, it's a few pages. I mean, it's like, I guess it's like right here. All right. But trust me, we got it. But it's available online. You can get it at the auditor's office and at the recorder's office. But the 26 acres, was sold to Lawrence Bishop and Darlene Bishop in 2007. Now, the original purchase price on the original 50 acres was $500,000, $10,000 an acre. On paper, it looks like it was $10,000 an acre that was paid for the 5 acres that ended up in Junior's name in 98. And you say, why would you say on paper? Well, it's just that you got people that are getting paid by this nonprofit. I mean, there's just any number of ways to make that happen. But anyway, let's just take that at face value. Here's the point. Assuming that in 98, Junior actually took 50 grand out of his pocket and gave it to the church. Of course, you can't verify the other side of that transaction because Solid Rock has never published financials. They never have. And they'll have you removed. And fact check that, Jana. Was that an AI generated video when the security guys removed that dear lady out of the church? Was that real or was that AI generated? Nah, it was real. It was real. But have your FBI forensic friends have them look at it, okay? But the thing is that, so the 5 acres in 98, here's the central issue. And even to this moment, I know there's some people that don't get it. No part of the business of the church is supposed to inure to the benefit of any one individual. Now, you see what I'm saying? Was that a competitive bid? Was it put out there on the market? Or was it a hush, hush, behind the scenes? Nobody else knew about it. We just did it. Because that's what it sure looks like. And I said earlier that it actually gets even worse. What is even worse, ladies and gentlemen, is that at the time, now think about this, Lawrence Sr., and I'm going to replay the audio where Darlene admits that for years and years and years, she covered up his sexual sins. But she allowed him to preach in the church. And she shared the pulpit with him, and she still has his name on that pavilion. Yeah, she did all of that. But that man and Darlene sold church property to themselves. And I could have grabbed the comment. Somebody said, so they paid what it was paid for. I don't care what amount of money is involved. And that is like, you can make that look any way you want on paper. But I just ask you, ladies and gentlemen, do pastors of a church, a real church, is it ethical to just decide, the church owns this, but we're going to sell it to ourselves? That's what we're going to do. And we ain't going to tell nobody. And anybody asks any questions, we're going to have them forcibly removed from the premises, and we will tell them, we will arrest them if they come back. If you think that's okay, type okay in the comments. If you think it's unethical, type weird, please. Now, so I said that it's really worse. So, and how did Solid Rock get the money to buy the $500,000? Did the church take out a mortgage? We wouldn't know. They don't publish anything. Well, and someone would say, well, I can tell you right now what happened. Well, whatever you can tell me right now, you don't know right now because you just don't know. But I don't care if, and I think this guy, the senior, like he made a ton of money, horses and so, that's great. But if you give something to a church and then you treat that as though it's your private property to do whatever, that ain't ethical and it ain't legal. I don't think it's legal. But here's what's weird. So they bought this 26.5 acres that they sold to themselves. I can't believe I'm saying this. But in 2000, and you see that at the bottom of this ledger, 2007. Then in 2011, it gets kind of confusing, but the end of the story is it goes from Solid Rock to Lawrence and Darlene, and then it goes into the trust, and then it goes into Junior's part of the trust, and then, but ultimately, where does it end up? It ends up in Lawrence Jr.'s possession. Let me keep moving. I don't think I brought the power supply to this laptop. That's good because it's so, folks, if I die, I'll see you tomorrow at 7. We'll look at some letters. I'm just going to roll that way. But that piece of property right now, this is an article from 2 years ago. Now, Junior's done, some improvements on it, built that house with the lovely blue roof and all, but was trying to sell it for $5.7 million. All of that stuff that was passed from the church to the bishops and then ended up in his name. And then, it looks pretty nice inside. Those are some nice guitars, brother. I like them. Yeah, I see some cool ones there. That's a nice music room. I mean, it's called the music-themed house. And so here's what I'm going to do, folks. And I literally but I just got to say, I think the situation's even worse. Because I really don't know if faithful tithing members of Solid Rock knew that they were helping to get 50 acres for the church. And then when it suited their purpose, that fornicating adultery admitted to by Darlene, Lawrence Sr. and Darlene would sell 5 acres to their kid and 26 acres to themselves. I want to play this real quick.
My battery is a New York minute and say I'm out of here. But he won't let me. And I don't know what he's up to.
I'm cutting the battery.
You ain't done yet. They might try to push, but they can't push far enough to take that anointing out of the Seven and I will do it, saith the Lord. Get ready, for my spirit is going to fall upon this house with revival like has never been, saith the Lord.
Among many other things, Mary Barrett Bagel, that's why I'm not touching God's anointed. That is, I'm sorry that you're under the delusion of that false doctrine, but you just heard false prophecy right there. She's making this up. That is not the Holy Spirit. And by the way, ain't none of that happened. But I really am fighting the battery, folks. I'm kind of glad it worked out this way because if I'm gone, I'll see
my response to all of these that want to get rid of me. With respect to the secret sins that my deceased husband went through, I'm not here to justify his actions. You must know that I made the decisions many years ago to protect my family and my children.
I do think it's almost providential that I didn't bring up the power supply to this workstation. So it makes me, I'm fighting the battery, and if I disappear, I disappear. But I want to leave you all with this thought, and I'm very, very serious. The audio, and by the way, Jana, no, and Marla Ann, this absolutely survives fact check. Multiple witnesses have this audio. You can't lie your way out of this one. And I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it nice, though. Jana, if you can't prove that something that we have reported here is a lie, then you, my dear, are a liar. If you're calling something that we report a lie and you can't prove that what you're saying is true, then you, sweet face cheeks, are a liar. You are a liar if you can't prove it. And everything that we've gone through this evening survives fact check. And that is audio, Jana, sadly, of your mother admitting to the few people that were there that she covered up gross sexual sin. And every time that happens, there's a victim on the other side. She covered it up, and she continued to allow that foul predator to grace the pulpit of Crumbling Rock Church. I'll say that again. She covered up the gross sin of a foul predator. Your brother even says that. He was an evil predator. And she allowed the foul predator to grace the pulpit of Crumbling Rock Church. And Crumbling Rock Church still proudly displays a name that should live in infamy. You talked about the greats and billboards and magazines. He ought to be on a billboard, Jana, darling. He ought to be on a magazine. Predator of the Year. And I know that it's not pleasant, but when you perpetrate this lie and you call me a liar, I'm telling you, you got no proof, then honey, darling, you are a liar. You are a liar. Marla, if you ain't got no proof, Marla, and you be a liar. A liar. And you can try to bring up you can bring that up all you want. That cost was counted a long time ago. It has nothing to do with a predatory preacher gracing the pulpit at Crumbling Rock Church, selling church property to himself, folks, did you ever have anybody put that kind of property in your family trust and finagle a way to get it into your hands so that years later you could be trying to sell? I don't think he'll get that for it. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it right there. Churches do not exist for pastors to spoil the goods, for wolves to devour the sheep. And no, Marianne Barrett Bagel, we ain't touching no God's anointed. Even if that false doctrine was true, it doesn't apply here, but it's a false doctrine. Folks, I think I stayed pretty calm. Join me tomorrow night, and we will go through a couple of letters and some more stuff and be ready as soon as Robin's finished on Tuesday night. Lord willing, I'm going to be joined by my dear brother, Pastor Ray, and he's going to bring it down. Y'all have a good evening, and we'll talk to you. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio, and God bless the United States of America and our friends around the world. Good night, y'all. I'm waiting for this.